Sometimes philosophers talk about personal identity. And one question regarding personal identity is this: what are we? What sorts of things are we? In order to get a feel for what's being asked here, consider the classic 1995 movie, Ghost in the Shell. The main character in this movie, Major Kusanagi, wonders what she is. She used to have a normal, biological human body, but that body was replaced by a robotic body. Although she's told she still has a biological human brain. But she's not even sure about that. Maybe she's been lied to, and she doesn't have a human brain, and all of her parts are entirely artificial. The question of what she is becomes even more pressing when she encounters a mysterious hacker named the Puppet Master, who speaks through a hacked cyborg body. The Puppet Master claims not to have a body at all and lives in the internet. In the climax of the movie, Kusanagi merges with the Puppet Master to form a new mind, which comes to occupy a brand new robotic body. So what's going on here? What is Kusanagi? What is the Puppet Master if the Puppet Master doesn't even have a body? Presumably we're not robots, and presumably we have biological brains, even if Kusanagi isn't sure that she has a biological brain. Could we nevertheless replace our bodies with robotic bodies, as Kusanagi does? Could we even replace our brains with artificial brains and continue to exist? Could we exist without bodies, like the Puppet Master claims to? Could one mind merge with another mind? So these are all big questions. Let's just focus on one of them. What are we? One proposed answer to this question goes by the name of substance dualism. The most prominent version of substance dualism says that we are non-physical souls, which are somehow paired with our physical bodies. This view is actually alluded to in the title of the movie, Ghost in the Shell. Ghost in the Shell is a reference to the phrase ghost in the machine, which was used by the philosopher Gilbert Ryle to refer to the view that we are non-physical souls occupying physical bodies. Maybe a ghost in a body is what Kusanagi is, and maybe it's what each of us is too. Many philosophers have endorsed substance dualism, but one of those philosophers who's best known for endorsing substance dualism is René Descartes. Descartes gave the following argument for substance dualism. He said, look, I can imagine myself existing without a body. It's conceivable, after all, you can imagine that situation, that you continue to exist in a disembodied state. Maybe you're a ghost or something. Or you can be reincarnated into a new body. Whether or not this sort of thing actually happens, it's conceivable, and so it's possible. It could happen. But my body can't exist without my body, right? Since this would mean that the body exists without itself. So there's something true of me which is not true of my body. Namely, that in principle, I could exist without my body, while my body can't exist without my body. And since I'm not my body, I must be something else, a non-physical object, a soul, which is somehow paired with or occupies my body. Now you might wonder, could this non-physical soul be transferred into a robotic body? It's hard to see why not, at least in principle. This seems to be how Ghost in the Shell treats Kusanagi. Since she's really a ghost in a body, there's no reason why she needs to occupy one body rather than another, or any reason why she needs to occupy a biological body rather than a robotic body. But here's another answer to the question, what are we? We are organisms, and in particular, we are human organisms. To some extent, this sounds like common sense, right? But substance dualists like Descartes deny this. They say that we are souls paired with organisms, or occupying organisms, but we are not ourselves organisms. The view that we are human organisms is called animalism. Here's the most prominent argument for animalism defended by the philosopher Erik Olson. Let's assume, just to illustrate the argument, that right now you're sitting in a chair. Clearly, there's an animal sitting in that chair, right? In particular, there's a human animal sitting in that chair. In fact, that human animal sitting in your chair seems to be thinking whatever thoughts you're thinking at the present moment. This is because it has a brain, which is configured to think those thoughts. But if you are not a human animal, then that means that there's two thinkers sitting in your chair right now. The human organism and you. But that's bizarre, right? Surely there's only one thinker sitting in your chair, thinking your thoughts, and that thinker is you. If that's right, then you must be the animal sitting in that chair, since that animal is thinking your thoughts, and there's only one thinker sitting in your chair thinking your thoughts. Now you might wonder, could a human organism be transferred into a robotic body? It's a little harder to see how that would work. Replace the biological parts of an animal with artificial parts, and you no longer have an organism. So maybe it's harder to see how a human organism could merge with or become a machine, as Kusanagi does in Ghost in the Shell. So those are two views, the answer to the question, what are we? We are souls and we are organisms. There's other views out there. Philosophers continue to debate this issue, but those are two of the most prominent views being discussed. And you can see how the movie Ghost in the Shell provides a fascinating introduction to this issue.